Hi everyone, Aaron here, and welcome back to the channel. The latest chapter in the book that is Scientology's takeover of downtown Clearwater was written last month when David Miscavige bribed a developer to back out of an affordable housing complex that was planned right in downtown Clearwater that was going to be located right next to Scientology's superpower building. Now, I say Miscavige bribed the developer. So let's be conservative and let's just say he allegedly or apparently or pretty obviously bribed the developer to back out of this project. Let me report it to you as it was reported by the Tampa Bay Times. Tracy McManus reports, Clearwater Affordable Housing Project is dead. Land could go to Scientology. A developer has abandoned plans for 81 units in downtown, clearing the way for the site to be part of a land swap between the church and the city. A long-awaited affordable housing project on a city-owned downtown parcel has been canceled, and the site could now be included in negotiations for a land swap with the Church of Scientology. Blue Sky Communities went under contract with the city in 2019 to build 81 apartments on the former fire station site at 601 Franklin Street. It took the developer 2 years to obtain the $17.5 million in tax credits from the state. By then, the coronavirus pandemic caused construction costs to skyrocket. So as recently as February, Blue Sky CEO Sean Wilson asked for and received $2 million from the Pinellas County Commission to cover a funding gap. The city also agreed to provide $1.8 million to get the affordable housing units out of the ground. In an interview, Wilson cited continuing construction increases as the reason he ended his contract with the city last month. But he said Scientology's longtime interest in the property also was in the back of our mind. Asked if the church had pressed Blue Sky to abandon its project, Wilson said, "I'm not comfortable making any further comment."
Well, isn't that interesting?
We know about Scientology's interest, and we know a lot of things that are happening in the city, so there was a lot of factors that went into our decision not to pursue the deal anymore. But primarily, it was just our inability to get a comfort level with construction costs, Wilson said. Scientology spokesperson Ben Shaw did not respond to a request for comment. The parcel is bordered to the west by the church's 7-story, 300,000 square foot flag building, and to the south by a vacant lot where Scientology plans to build a 4,000-seat auditorium. City manager John Jennings said Scientology leader David Miscavige stressed his interest in the fire station property during negotiations for a land swap that began after Jennings took over city administration in November. The swap is centered on Scientology acquiring a 1.4-acre lot near the waterfront on Pierce Street, which Miscavige has wanted for years. But Jennings said the deal has stalled because the two cannot agree on other properties that could be included and what the city would get in exchange. I obviously want maximum value, as does he, so we just haven't been able to agree on what would be part of a package that I could then bring to the city council, Jennings said. The city has obtained appraisals on a park the church owns on the northeast corner of Drew Street and North Fort Harrison Ave, and land near the southeast corner of Court Street and South Fort Harrison Ave that is owned by an LLC managed by Scientology parishioners. Now, isn't it interesting that David Miscavige is considering using land that was purchased by public Scientologists in a land swap with the city to help the Church of Scientology? Citizens of Clearwater, please keep this in mind. And the next time you hear your elected leaders try to say, whoa, it's not Scientology that's buying all these properties, it's just Scientologists. It's not because they're stupid, it's because they're corrupt. The article continues, Jennings said he expects Miscavige to bring the city's Franklin Street fire station into their negotiations once he finds out or if he knows the property is available. When the city council granted Blue Sky's affordable housing project the $1.8 million in additional funding in December, Mayor Frank Hibbard was the only no vote. He said he did not see 81 units moving the needle on the affordable housing crisis. If 81 units doesn't move the needle on the affordable housing crisis, what's the right number, Mayor Hibbard? What's the right number of units that's acceptable for you to authorize for an affordable housing project? All I've ever heard is excuses why affordable housing projects can't or shouldn't be done here or there for this reason or that reason. Give me a break. 81 units is a lot of units. All right, it goes on. He also noted Scientology's interest in the land and that it could be used as a bargaining chip for the city to acquire more important properties in exchange. On Tuesday, Councilmember Kathleen Beckman said it was incredibly disappointing to lose the Blue Sky project because affordable housing is a top priority of residents. Councilmember Mark Bunker expressed concern over the possibility that Scientology will benefit over the city's loss of affordable housing. In February, a group of limited liability companies tied to Scientology announced it started to renovate 3 downtown buildings and recruit retail, that looks like a typo, and recruit retail for the empty storefronts. Jennings confirmed the plan was a show of good faith to the community from Miscavige as the two negotiate terms for the land swap. I am not swayed by the fact that this is going to be good for our relationship with Scientology, Bunker said. I don't trust them. I don't think anyone should. For those of you brand new to the issue, here's the Cliff Notes. A handful of years ago, there was a vacant piece of undeveloped land that was located directly behind the Fort Harrison Hotel and directly next to the Oak Cove Hotel. Both properties Scientology owns. Both properties are important properties of Scientology's flag land base. This empty vacant lot was owned by the Clearwater Marine Aquarium. They were planning on relocating their operations to downtown Clearwater, so they had this piece of land. When they chose not to relocate, they decided to sell this land to the city because they wanted the land to remain in public hands. Specifically, they didn't want it to go to Scientology. So this land was appraised for about $4 million. Scientology wanted this land, but not because they needed to do anything important with it. What's key here is they just wanted to prevent anybody else from doing something important with it. David Miscavige's priority is to keep people from developing things around the flag land base that will attract non-Scientologists into the vicinity of the flag land base. On this map here, you can see some of the most important buildings of the flag land base, and you can see how these buildings are located essentially around the perimeter of downtown Clearwater, and Scientology owns also a majority of the buildings within the perimeter of downtown Clearwater. The Flag Land Base is not just any church of Scientology. You actually can't join Scientology at Flag. You can't join Scientology in Clearwater. Many people don't know this. And because you can't join Scientology here, David Miscavige doesn't want non-Scientologists around this base to the degree that he has any say-so in the matter. Miscavige knows that if a developer were to buy this prime piece of downtown waterfront property, they're going to develop something very big there, probably a giant mixed-use commercial residential tower, and it is something that would definitely bring more non-Scientologists around the Flag Land Base, and Miscavige wanted to stop that at all costs. So he offered $15 million in writing. I can tell you, he verbally offered $20 million. And the Clearwater Marine Aquarium had such integrity for doing what was right for the public good that they said, take your $20 million and shove it up your ass. We're selling this property to the city for 4.1 or 4.2 million. So the city bought the property. And ever since then, Miscavige has been trying to do a horse trade with the city to obtain that property in a land swap. And the city wasn't interested. So Miscavige instructed his public Scientologists to start purchasing all of the commercial property that was for sale and all of the commercial property that wasn't for sale in downtown Clearwater. They spent over $100 million buying at least 40 prime commercial lots all over downtown Clearwater over the last 3, 4, 5 years. I forget what it's been exactly, but it's somewhere around there, and have left these properties completely vacant. And anyone with 2 brain cells to rub together knew that these were being purchased so that Miscavige could use them as leverage against the city. And the way Miscavige used them as leverage was he bought up all this property, he and his members bought up all this property, and just did nothing with them. Knowing that the city of Clearwater was in the process of spending almost $100 million to redevelop its waterfront bluff, and that these properties that Scientologists had purchased, activating and revitalizing these properties would be key in ensuring the success, the commercial success of the developments that the city was investing so much money into. So instead of being a good neighbor and showing good faith and buying these properties and developing them and, putting in tenants and attracting things and showing, hey, we're a partner, we're acting in good faith, do us a favor, trade us this property, please, we'd really appreciate it. Instead, they went the mafia route, which is typical. That's what you would expect of little Captain Miscavige and his human trafficking organization. They basically said, hey, you got some really nice plans here. This is a really nice downtown. It'd be a shame if something happened to it. And then last year, we hired a new city manager, John Jennings, and his first thing on the job was to become David Miscavige's best friend and talk to him. I think he said he was talking to him on the phone twice a day, and started advocating the city should be partnering with Scientology to redevelop downtown Clearwater, and they've been working on negotiating this land swap. By the way, all of the process servers who are currently trying to serve Miscavige in the various civil and criminal lawsuits that are occurring on the subject of Scientology, please take note of the fact that David Miscavige, who pretends to be this elite ivory tower ecclesiastical leader who has nothing to do with day-to-day operations of the church, is personally negotiating a real estate land swap in Clearwater, Florida, with John Jennings, Clearwater city manager. So if you want to find Miscavige, maybe just trail John Jennings around for a few weeks and you're bound to find Miscavige eventually. So anyway, that brings us to what was reported here, where there was a fire station, an old unused fire station that the city owned. And this fire station was located right next to the Flagland base, as you can see on this map right here. And the city was dedicated to turning this into an affordable housing unit project, and that has been in the works for years. And only when Tracy McManus reported this story a few weeks ago did we learn that all of the property swap negotiations had stalled because there was yet another property Miscavige wanted next to the base that was off the table because this property had already been leased to a developer to develop affordable housing. And Miscavige literally said, talks are stalled until you guys figure out how to get me that fire station. And wouldn't you know it, the one council member who was in favor of killing that affordable housing project was Mayor Frank Hibbard. No big surprise there. But the other 4 members of the city council outvoted him, and they voted to give this affordable housing project the additional funding that it needed to see its way through. So Miscavige wasn't getting help on the city side to kill this affordable housing project. So he went to the developer personally and killed this project. And if you ask me, do I think did Miscavige use the carrot or did he use the stick? I believe Miscavige used the carrot. No reason to use the stick in this case. Miscavige has all the money in the world to spend, and he'll spend anything to keep people from building things that will bring non-Scientologists around the Flagland base. So he goes to the developer, hey, it's a nice project you got here. It'd be a real shame if something happened to it, but hey, I'll help you out. I'll get you off the hook. I'll cover your costs. I'll cover your losses, give you a little extra something for you. Just walk away from the project. Just walk away. We'll make you whole. We'll even put you in the black. Don't you worry about it. And then all of a sudden, property swap negotiations are ongoing. David Miscavige is the leader of a criminal racketeering organization, a human trafficking cult that is taking over our downtown. And our citizens need to realize that our elected leaders are doing nothing effective about this. They are terrified to speak openly and strongly and plainly about this at our city council meetings. Only Mark Bunker has the balls to sit up there on the council and call out David Miscavige for the criminal that he is. And everyone else is up there covering their ass. Frank Hibbard's friends, I can name 6 of Frank Hibbard's close personal friends who are on Scientology's payroll and are profiting off of selling Clearwater to Scientology. And it's time the citizens paid more attention. I'm not crapping on the citizens. Paying attention to politics is difficult and boring at the best of times. But if the citizens don't start paying a little more attention and holding our elected leaders to account. And by that, I mean voting them the hell out of office and voting someone else in who isn't afraid to call these son of a bitches out for what they are. If the citizens aren't prepared to do that, nothing is going to change. Citizens of Clearwater, I beg you, in the next 2 city council elections, don't vote for anybody who isn't willing to call Scientology a criminal, racketeering, human trafficking cult. If we do that, then in the next 2 elections, we'll have a completely new city council staffed with people who know what they're talking about and aren't afraid to do something about it. Thank you everyone for watching. Thank you to all of you who watch until the very end, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.
Okay, if you want to see my rock and roll songs, click right on this guitar. And if you want to see a different one of my videos, then you could click right inside here. If you have subscribed or not, subscribe right here.